In a quiet town in the Midwest, life went on as usual. The sun shone brightly, and children played in the streets. Jake, a mechanic, was fixing cars in his small workshop. He loved working with his hands, getting grease under his nails, and making old engines roar back to life. Just down the road, Lily, a school teacher, was preparing for her lessons. She enjoyed teaching her students about science, hoping to inspire them to reach for the stars. One afternoon, while Jake was tightening bolts on a rusty pickup truck, a loud boom echoed through the sky. He looked up, shielding his eyes from the sun. A bright light streaked across the blue, leaving a trail of smoke behind. The townspeople paused, staring up in awe and fear. The light grew larger, and then, with a thunderous crash, it landed in a nearby field. Curiosity gripped Jake. He dropped his tools and ran toward the sound, joining a small group of neighbors, who gathered at the edge of the field. Lily, hearing the commotion, decided to follow. She grabbed her bag and hurried outside, her heart racing with excitement and concern. When they reached the crash site, they found a large metallic object half buried in the ground. It looked unlike anything they had ever seen. The surface was smooth and shiny, reflecting the sunlight. Strange symbols covered the sides, glowing faintly. Jake stepped closer, feeling a mix of fear and wonder. "What do you think it is?" Lily asked, squinting at the strange object. "I don't know." "But we should be careful," Jake replied, glancing around at the crowd. "It could be dangerous." The neighbors murmured among themselves, unsure whether to approach or back away. Suddenly, a loud hissing sound came from the object, and a door on the side slowly opened. A thick green smoke poured out, filling the air with a strange metallic scent. Everyone took a step back, fear spreading through the crowd. "Stay back," Jake shouted, his protective instincts kicking in. He could see that the object was not just a simple piece of metal. It was something much more complicated, something that could hold unimaginable power. Lily, however, was drawn to it. She felt a strange pull, as if the object was calling to her. "We need to see what's inside," she insisted, her curiosity getting the better of her. Jake shook his head, worried about the danger, but he knew Lily wouldn't back down. "Okay, but we stick together," he said as he took a deep breath, and stepped closer to the door. As they approached, the smoke began to clear. Inside, they could see a series of wires and blinking lights. It looked like some kind of control panel. Jake reached out, touching the cold metal. The moment his fingers made contact, the lights flickered, and a low hum filled the air. "Do you hear that?" Lily whispered, her eyes wide with excitement. "Yeah, it's like it's alive," Jake replied, backing away slightly. Just then, Dr. Emily White, scientist from the nearby university, arrived on the scene. I'd heard about the crash and rushed over to investigate. With her glasses perched on her nose and a notebook in hand, she took in the sight of the object and the crowd gathered around it. "What do we have here?" she asked, stepping forward. The townspeople parted to let her through, eager to hear her thoughts. "This is amazing," Emily said, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "It appears to be some kind of alien technology. We need to study it more." Closely, Jake and Lily exchanged glances. This was serious. "Can you help us figure out what it is?" Jake asked. "Absolutely," Emily replied, already scribbling notes. "We need to transport it to the lab. We can analyze it there." Townspeople murmured in agreement, excitement building among them. They knew this was a significant moment in their lives. They were about to uncover something extraordinary. With the help of a few brave volunteers, they managed to pull the object out of the ground. It was heavy, but not unmanageable. They loaded it onto a flatbed truck, securing it tightly. Jake climbed into the cab with Lily and Emily sitting in the back, eager to see what secrets the object held. As they drove toward the university, the atmosphere was electric. Everyone was buzzing with questions. What did the symbols mean? Where did the object come from? What was its purpose? Lily looked at Emily, her mind racing with possibilities. "What do you think it can do?" she asked. Emily smiled, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "It's what I think it is. It could be a weapon or a tool for exploration. But we need to be careful. We don't fully understand its capabilities yet." Jake drove on, determination in his heart. They had to find out more. The fate of their town and maybe even the world could depend on it. When they reached the university, they quickly unloaded the object and wheeled it into the lab. Emily wasted no time. She gathered her research team, and they examined the alien device closely, taking readings and documenting every detail. As the hours passed, Jake and Lily watched in awe. They learned how to read the symbols, discovering that they represented different functions of the machine. It was a bomb, but not like anything they had ever seen. It was designed to cause massive destruction, a weapon from a distant world. Lily's heart sank. "This could be catastrophic if it gets activated," she said, fear creeping into her voice. Emily nodded, her expression serious. "We need to figure out how it works. If we can understand it, we might be able to stop it from detonating." Suddenly, a loud alarm went off in the lab. Red lights flashed, and the room filled with a piercing sound. Jake's heart raced. "What does that mean?" he shouted. Emily rushed to the control panel, her fingers flying over the buttons. "It's detecting a power surge," she exclaimed. "We need to stabilize it before it goes off." Panic set in as the team scrambled to contain the situation. Jake felt a surge of adrenaline. They had stumbled upon something powerful, and now they had to confront the reality of what it could do. This was just the beginning, and they knew they had to act fast. With determination in their hearts, they prepared to face whatever came next. Together, they would uncover the secrets of the bomb and protect their world from the threat that had fallen from the sky. The atmosphere in the lab was tense. Red lights flashed, and the alarm blared as the team worked to stabilize the alien bomb. Emily focused on the control panel, her fingers moving quickly. She shouted instructions to the others, who scrambled to help. Jake and Lily stood nearby, their hearts pounding as they watched the chaos unfold. "Is it going to explode?" Jake asked, his voice shaky with fear. "Not if we can stop it in time," Emily replied, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Just need to redirect the power flow." With a few more adjustments, Emily finally managed to silence the alarm. The red lights turned off, and the room grew quiet. Everyone let out a collective sigh of relief. But the danger was not over. They still had to understand the bomb and its purpose. Once things calmed down, the team gathered around the alien device. Emily pointed at the symbols on its surface. "These markings are like a language. If we can decode them, we might find out how this bomb works." Lily stepped closer, her curiosity ignited. "How do we start?" Emily smiled, appreciating Lily's enthusiasm. "We'll need to take photos of the symbols and analyze them one by one. Maybe we can find patterns or similarities to languages we know." As the team worked, Jake felt a mix of excitement and fear. They were digging into something powerful, something that could change everything. He wanted to understand it, but he also worried about what they might find. Hours passed as they focused on the task. The lab filled with the sound of typing and murmurs of excitement as they discovered more about the bomb. They learned that it was designed to cause destruction on a massive scale. The realization hit them hard. This was not just a piece of alien technology. It was a weapon aimed at Earth. Could we turn it into something else? Jake asked, a thought forming in his mind. What if we could upgrade it and use it against them? Emily looked at him, surprised. You mean reverse engineer it? That's a risky idea, but it might work. If we can understand its technology, we could potentially create a weapon that can defend us. Lily felt a spark of hope. Could strike back if they come for us again. Jake felt a rush of determination. Let's do it. We have to protect our town and our people. The team agreed, and they set to work on a plan. They divided into groups, each focusing on different aspects of the bomb. Some worked on decoding the symbols, while others looked for ways to modify its systems. They all shared the same goal: to create a weapon that could help humanity fight back. Days turned into nights as they worked tirelessly. They faced challenges at every turn. Sometimes the equipment would malfunction, or they would hit a dead end in their research. But with every setback, the team grew stronger. They learned to rely on each other and built friendships that would last a lifetime. One evening, as they gathered around the bomb, Jake had an idea. What if we can integrate our technology with theirs? We could use our weapon systems to enhance the bomb's capabilities. Emily nodded, her eyes shining with excitement. That could work. We can create a hybrid weapon combining the best of both worlds. They got to work immediately. Jake and Lily gathered tools, while Emily led a group of engineers in the lab. They spent hours brainstorming, sketching designs, and working on prototypes. The atmosphere buzzed with energy as they shared ideas and improved each step of the process as they worked. They learned more about each other. Jake shared stories of his childhood, growing up in a small town, while Lily talked about her dreams of exploring the universe. Emily opened up about her passion for science and her desire to make the world a better place. The bond between them deepened, and soon they were not just colleagues but friends. They shared laughter and encouragement as they tackled the difficult task ahead. Small success brought them closer together. Finally, after weeks of hard work, they were ready to test their upgraded weapon. They gathered in the lab, excitement and nerves buzzing in the air. The hybrid bomb stood before them, a blend of alien technology and human ingenuity. It looked powerful, and they all felt a mix of pride and apprehension. Are we really ready for this? Jake asked, glancing at Emily. We have to be, she replied, her voice steady. If we don't test it now, we may never know if it will work when we need it most. Lily stepped forward, determination in her eyes. We've come this far together. We can do this. With a nod, they all agreed. They set up a testing area. Outside the lab, away from the town, they wanted to ensure everyone was safe. As they walked to the site, Jake felt a surge of hope. They were about to change the game. Once they reached the clearing, they carefully positioned the bomb. Emily activated the control system, and the familiar symbols lit up. The team gathered around, watching intently as Emily began the countdown. 3, 2, 1. Activate, she shouted. The bomb hummed to life, and the air crackled with energy. A beam of light shot out, striking a target they had set up in the distance. The impact was powerful, sending debris flying. The team cheered, their hearts racing with excitement. It worked, Lily exclaimed, her face glowing with joy. Jake felt a rush of pride. They had taken something dangerous and turned it into a weapon of hope. We did it, he said, looking at his friends. Now we can defend our home. But as they celebrated, a sense of urgency washed over Jake. They knew this was only the beginning. Aliens would not give up easily, and they had to prepare for the fight ahead. The upgraded weapon was a step in the right direction, but they needed a plan to use it effectively. As they packed up the equipment and headed back to the lab, Jake spoke up. We need to figure out how to deploy this weapon. If the aliens come back, we have to be ready. Emily nodded. We can work on a strategy. We need to gather more information about the aliens and their tactics, Lily added. And we should reach out to other towns. If we can unite our efforts, we'll stand a better chance. The team agreed, their spirits high. They had turned a moment of fear into a spark of hope. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. They were ready to fight for their world, and nothing would stand in their way. The days that followed were filled with preparation. Jake, Lily, and Emily worked tirelessly, gathering information about the aliens and their technology. They connected with other towns, sharing what they had learned and forming a plan. Good to unite their community against a common threat. One afternoon, as they were working in the lab, the atmosphere suddenly changed. The lights flickered, and the ground shook. People outside began to scream. Jake rushed to the window and saw dark shapes in the sky. Alien ships were descending from above, their massive forms blocking out the sun. Everyone, get to safety, Jake shouted, his heart racing. We need to move. Lily grabbed Emily's arm. What do we do? We can't just leave the bomb here. Can't let them take it, Emily said firmly. You have to protect it. Let's move it to the underground storage facility. It's safer there. The team quickly gathered their tools and the upgraded bomb. They worked together, pushing it through the halls of the lab as chaos erupted outside. People were running, shouting, and trying to escape the impending invasion. The sound of explosions echoed in the distance. As they reached the storage facility, they locked the door behind them. The room was dark and cool, filled with old equipment and supplies. They set the bomb down carefully, taking a moment to catch their breath. What's the plan now? Jake asked, looking at Emily. "We need to contact the other towns." She replied, "If we can warn them, we might be able to organize a defense." Lily pulled out her phone, but there was no signal. It's no use. The aliens must be blocking communications. "Then we have to go out there," Jake said, determination in his voice. "We can't wait for the aliens to take over. We need to fight back." Emily nodded. "We need to gather more information. If we can find out where the aliens are landing and how many there are, we can plan our attack." The team moved cautiously out of the storage facility and into the chaos outside. The streets were filled with smoke, and debris littered the ground. The alien ships were hovering above, their weapons firing down at anything that moved. People were running for cover, but many were trapped. Jake felt fear grip his heart. "We have to help them," he said, pointing to a group of people trapped in a burning building. Lily looked at him, her expression serious. "We can't. It's too dangerous. We need to focus on our mission." But Jake's heart wouldn't let him turn away. "We can't just leave them," he insisted. "We have to try." With a deep breath, he dashed toward the building. Lily and Emily closed behind. They reached the entrance, and the heat from the flames hit them like a wall. The building was engulfed in fire, and the smoke made it hard to breathe. "Stay low," Jake shouted, leading the way inside. They crawled through the doorway, calling out to the people inside. "Is anyone here?" A voice answered from upstairs. "Help, we're trapped!" Jake ran up the stairs, the flames licking at his heels. He found a family huddled in a corner, fear in their eyes. "Come on, we have to get you out," he urged. Grabbing the nearest person and pulling them to their feet, Lily and Emily joined him, helping to guide the family down the stairs. The heat was intense, and the smoke was thick. They could hear the alien ships firing outside, and the sound of destruction filled their ears. "Keep going," Jake shouted, his heart racing. They reached the front door, and he pushed it open just as an explosion rocked the ground outside. Dust and debris flew into the air. They stumbled out into the open, gasping for breath. The family was safe, but there was no time to celebrate. Alien soldiers were moving through the streets, searching for survivors and attacking anyone they found. "Move," Lily yelled, pointing to a nearby alley. "We need to get to safety." They ran down the alley, ducking behind dumpsters and staying low. The sounds of battle echoed around them. Jake's heart pounded as they moved carefully, trying to avoid the aliens' attention. Suddenly, they heard a loud crash. An alien ship had landed nearby, and soldiers poured out, weapons drawn. Jake felt a surge of fear as he realized they were close to being discovered. "Over here," Emily whispered, pointing to a small door at the back of the alley. It led to an old warehouse. They hurried inside, closing the door behind them. The inside was dark and filled with shadows. "What now?" Lily asked, her voice trembling. "We need to find a way to communicate with the other towns," Jake said. Looking around, there might be old radio equipment here. As they searched the warehouse, they found some dusty old radios and equipment. Emily quickly set to work, trying to get one of them operational. Jake and Lily kept watch, their hearts racing as the sounds of the invasion continued outside. Come on, Emily muttered, her fingers flying over the buttons. After a few tense moments, the radio crackled to life. "Is anyone there?" A voice came through the static. "This is a broadcast from the town of Maplewood. We are under attack. Maplewood." Jake shouted, grabbing the radio. "This is Jake from Riverton. We need to warn you about the aliens. They're attacking everywhere." The voice on the other end responded, "We're trying to organize a defense, but we need more information. Can you help us?" "Yes. We've discovered an alien bomb and upgraded it. We can use it against them," Jake explained, his heart racing with hope. "But we need to coordinate our efforts." "Understood. We'll send out a message to all towns. We need to gather everyone and prepare for a counterattack. Stay safe." The radio went silent, and Jake felt a rush of determination. They were not alone in this fight. Together, they could stand against the aliens. "Let's get back to the bomb," Lily said, her voice steady. "We need to be ready for when the time comes." They left the warehouse and made their way back through the streets, dodging alien soldiers and debris. The city was a battlefield, but they felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were fighting for their homes, their families, and each other. As they approached the lab, they saw a group of people gathered outside. It was a mix of townsfolk and survivors from other areas. They were armed and ready to fight. "Jake, Lily, Emily," a voice called out. It was a man from a neighboring town named Ben. "We heard your message. We're here to help." Jake felt a surge of hope. "Great. We need to prepare our defenses and coordinate our attack. We have an upgraded bomb that can help us take down the alien mothership." The group nodded, their faces set with determination. They quickly formed a plan, discussing their next steps and how to deploy the upgraded weapon effectively. As the sun began to set, casting a fiery glow over the chaos, Jake, Lily, and Emily stood with their friends, ready to fight.
Ow.
They had come together as a community, united against a common enemy. The battle for Earth had begun, and they were ready to face whatever came next. The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting long shadows over the town. The air was thick with tension as Jake, Lily, Emily, and the gathered townsfolk prepared for the battle ahead. They had formed a plan to use the upgraded bomb against the alien mothership, but they knew they had to act quickly. The aliens were relentless, and time was running out. Jake stood at the front of the group, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. "Listen up, everyone," he called out, trying to project confidence. "We've made a powerful weapon, but we need to work together to use it effectively. If we can hit the mothership, we can turn the tide of this battle." The crowd nodded, determination shining in their eyes. Lily stepped forward, holding a map. "We need to position ourselves strategically. The mothership is hovering above the city, and we have to find a way to get our bomb close enough to launch it." Emily chimed in. "We can use the old factory as a launch site. It's on the outskirts of town, and it gives us some cover from the alien ships." The group quickly discussed their plan, dividing into teams. Some would head to the factory to prepare the bomb for launch, while others would create distractions to keep the aliens occupied. Jake felt a surge of adrenaline as he looked at his friends. They were ready to fight back. As they moved out, the sounds of battle echoed in the distance. Explosions shook the ground, and the sky lit up with flashes of light. The aliens were not holding back. Jake's heart raced as they made their way through the streets, dodging debris and avoiding alien patrols. They reached the factory, a large building covered in rust and vines. It had been abandoned for years, but now it would serve as their launch site. Inside, they found old machinery and broken equipment. But they also discovered a large open space that would work perfectly for launching their bomb. "Let's get to work," Jake said, directing the team to set up the bomb in the center of the room. Emily and a few engineers began connecting wires and calibrating the control panel. Lily and Jake helped move crates and debris to create a protective barrier around the launch site as they worked. The sounds of battle grew closer. The aliens were advancing, and they could hear the hum of their ships overhead. Jake felt a knot in his stomach, but he pushed it aside. They had to stay focused. Once the bomb was set up, Emily ran a final check on the systems. "Looks good," she said, wiping sweat from her brow. "Ready to go." Just then, a loud crash echoed from outside. A group of alien soldiers had spotted them and were closing in. "Need to hold them off," Jake shouted, grabbing a makeshift weapon from one of the crates. The townsfolk rallied together, taking up positions around the factory. They had gathered whatever they could find: pipes, tools, and even old firearms. They were ready to fight. For their lives, the door burst open, and the aliens poured in, their weapons aimed at the group. Jake felt a surge of fear, but he also felt the fire of determination. "Now," he shouted as he charged forward. The townspeople fought bravely. They swung makeshift weapons and shouted to keep the aliens at bay. Jake found himself face to face with an alien soldier. He swung a metal pipe, hitting the alien in the side. It stumbled but quickly regained its balance, glaring at Jake with fierce eyes. Lily fought nearby, using her agility to dodge an alien's attack. She grabbed a wrench and struck back, surprising the alien. Emily coordinated the team, shouting, orders and helping wherever she could. Outside explosions rang out as the distraction teams engaged the alien forces. They set off firecrackers and created noise to draw attention away from the factory. The plan was working, but the alien soldiers inside were still a threat. "Keep fighting," Jay yelled, pushing back against the alien. He felt the adrenaline pumping through his veins as he and the townsfolk fought side by side. They were outnumbered, but they refused to back down. After a fierce struggle, they managed to push the aliens back. The soldiers fell one by one, and soon the factory was filled with the sounds of victory. But Jake knew this was just the beginning. They had to get the bomb launched before more aliens arrived. "Get ready to launch," Emily shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. They quickly moved back to the control panel, their hearts racing. Jake took a deep breath, feeling the weight of their mission. "On my count," he said, looking at the team. 3, 2, 1, launch. Emily pressed the button, and the bomb roared to life. Lights flashed, and the room filled with a low hum of energy. The bomb was ready to be fired into space. But just then, the factory shook as another wave of alien soldiers approached. "They're coming back," Lily yelled, fear creeping into her voice. "Hold them off," Jake shouted, grabbing a weapon and rushing toward the entrance. The townsfolk positioned themselves to defend the launch site, their faces set with determination. The aliens charged in, and a fierce battle broke out once again. Jake fought alongside his friends, each strike fueled by their shared goal. They had to protect the bomb at all costs. As the fight raged, Jake felt a moment of clarity. They were not just fighting for themselves, they were fighting for everyone back home, for their families and friends. The thought gave him strength, and he pushed forward, striking down an alien soldier with renewed vigor. Finally, the last of the alien soldiers fell, and the factory fell silent. Breathing heavily, Jake turned back to the control panel. "Is the bomb ready?" he asked Emily. "Yes," she replied, her eyes wide with excitement. "We just need to aim it at the mothership." Jake and the team quickly adjusted the launch angle, focusing on the dark shape hovering above the city. The mothership loomed ominously, its presence a constant reminder of the danger they faced. "Let's do this," Jake said, feeling a mix of fear and hope. "On my count again, 3, 2, 1. Fire." Emily pressed the button, and the bomb shot out of the factory. It flew into the sky, leaving a brilliant trail of light behind it. Jake watched in awe as it ascended, aiming directly for the mothership. The group held their breath, their eyes glued to the sky. The bomb reached the mothership, and for a moment, everything felt still. Then, an explosion rocked the air, sending shockwaves through the town. A brilliant flash of light illuminated the sky as the bomb detonated. Striking the mothership, cheers erupted from the townsfolk as they witnessed the destruction. The mothership shook and began to fall, losing control. The alien ship scattered, retreating from the chaos. "We did it," Lily shouted, her voice filled with joy. "We actually did it." Jake felt a rush of relief and triumph. They had fought back against an overwhelming enemy and succeeded, but they knew this was not the end. The battle was won, but the war was far from over. They had to remain vigilant, ready for whatever came next, as they celebrated their victory. A new sense of hope filled the air. Together, they had faced the unknown and emerged stronger. They were not just townsfolk anymore. They were a united force, ready to defend their home against any threat. The aftermath of the explosion was both chaotic and exhilarating. Smoke filled the sky, and debris rained down from the remnants of the alien mothership. Jake, Lily, and Emily stood together outside the factory, watching as the townspeople celebrated. Their victory had faced the unimaginable and come out on top. As the dust settled, Jake felt a sense of relief wash over him. "We really did it," he said, turning to Lily and Emily. "We fought back and won." Lily smiled, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I can't believe it. Just a few weeks ago, we were just living our normal lives. Now we've become part of something much bigger." Lily nodded, looking up at the sky where the mothership had once hovered. "But we have to stay alert. This might not be the end." The aliens could regroup and come back. The mood shifted slightly as the reality set in. The victory was sweet, but the battle was still not over. They had to ensure the safety of their town and prepare for any future attacks. "Let's gather everyone and make a plan," Jake suggested. "We need to discuss how to protect our town and what to do next." The townspeople began to gather around them, their faces filled with a mix of joy and concern. Ben, a leader from a neighboring town, stepped forward. "What do we do now? We've won this battle, but we need to prepare for the next one." Jake took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts. "We need to rebuild and strengthen our defenses. We should also share our knowledge with other towns. If we work together, we can stand a better chance against any future attacks," Lily added. "We should organize training sessions to teach everyone how to protect themselves. Can't let fear take over. We need to be ready." Emily spoke up, her voice steady. "We can also focus on repairing and upgrading our technology. If we can improve our weapons and defenses, we'll be better prepared for the next invasion." The group nodded in agreement. They knew that their victory was just the beginning of a long journey. They had to stay strong and united. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the town, the team set to work. They organized groups to clean up the debris and assess the damage. Many buildings had been damaged during the invasion, and it would take time to rebuild. Jake found himself working alongside his neighbors, lifting heavy pieces of metal and clearing away rubble. He felt a sense of purpose as they worked together, side by side. They were not just repairing their town, they were strengthening their community. Lily moved from group to group, offering encouragement and support. She helped set up a temporary shelter for those who had lost their homes. Her compassion shone through as she comforted others, reminding them that they would rebuild together. Emily focused on gathering information. She contacted nearby towns to share what they had learned about the aliens and their technology. Wanted to ensure that everyone was prepared for any future threats. As night fell, the town held a meeting in the central square. People gathered, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of lanterns. Jake, Lily, and Emily stood at the front, ready to address the crowd. "Thank you all for coming," Jake began, his voice strong. "We have faced a great challenge and come out victorious. But we must not forget that we need to stay vigilant. We must prepare for whatever may come next." The crowd listened intently, their eyes focused on Jake. He continued, "We will form training groups, repair our homes, and work together to strengthen our defenses. We are stronger together." Lily stepped forward, her voice clear. "We will also support each other emotionally. This has been a traumatic experience, and it's important that we lean on one another. We will heal together," Emily added. "We will share our knowledge with neighboring towns. If we can unite our efforts, we will be better prepared to face any future threats." The crowd erupted in applause, their spirits lifted. They felt a sense of hope and determination. They were ready to face the future together. The following days were filled with hard work and collaboration. The townspeople came together to train, sharing skills and knowledge. They learned how to defend themselves and how to use the technology they had salvaged from the battle. Jake led a group on repairs, showing others how to fix broken machinery and create makeshift weapons. Lily organized classes for children, teaching them about teamwork and the importance of staying safe. Emily worked on improving their communication systems, ensuring that they could reach out for help if needed. As they trained, the bond between the townspeople grew stronger. They shared laughter and stories, finding comfort in each other's company. The sense of community that had formed during the invasion continued to flourish. One afternoon, as Jake and Lily worked on repairing a damaged building, they took a moment to catch their breath. "I never thought I would be doing this," Jake said, wiping sweat from his brow. "But it feels good to be part of something important." Lily smiled. "We've all changed. We've learned to be brave and to rely on each other. This experience has brought us closer together." As the days turned into weeks, they continued to prepare. The townspeople erected defenses around the town, building barricades and lookout points. They created a plan for quick communication in case of another attack. News began to spread about their victory against the aliens. Other towns reached out, eager to learn from their experience. Jake, Lily, and Emily shared their knowledge, helping others prepare for potential threats. One evening, as they gathered for a community meal, Jake felt a sense of pride. The town was healing and people were smiling again. They had come together to face a common enemy, and now they were stronger for it. As they sat around the table, laughing and sharing stories, Jake looked at his friends and neighbors. "We've done something amazing," he said. "We've shown that we can stand together, no matter the odds." Lily nodded, her eyes shining. "We've created a new future for ourselves. We won't let fear control us," Emily added, "and we will always be ready to protect our home. Together, we can face anything." As the night wore on, the stars twinkled brightly above them. The town was alive with hope and determination. They had faced darkness and emerged victorious, ready to defend their future together. In that moment, Jake realized that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them as a community. They were stronger together, and as long as they stood united, they could overcome anything. The spirit of resilience burned brightly within them, lighting the way for a new dawn.